Welcome to the Education Exchange. I'm your host, Superintendent Jeremy Caius. We are back for our third season. This is our inaugural episode, and we are here with two of our student leaders from Sierra Linda High School, along with our principal of Sierra Linda High School, and I'm going to allow them to go ahead and introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Haley Barrera and I am a senior this year. I am this year's student body president.
Hello, my name is Janine Carrillo. I'm a senior as well, and I'm this year's student body vice president.
Hi, my name is Vicki Haught. I'm the proud principal here at Sierra Linda.
All right, so today we're going to talk about some of the facility improvements that are planned for Sierra Linda High School, but we're also going to recap some of the ones that recently went into place. The first one I want to start with is whenever I walk out of the administration building, the 100 building, the first thing I see is the beautiful turf, the shade. We got that nice solar canopy over the turf out there. How does that area now, you being seniors, you've seen the change. How is that changing how people are using that space now that we have the nice turf and the shade over there?
The turf has definitely welcomed us to more opportunities in hosting. We host a lot of our lunchtime activities. From welcoming freshmen. We also do a lot of clubs like Black Student Union. We're able to collaborate more since it's a bigger space, and a lot of students like being there just because it's a shaded area. And we all know Arizona heat, Arizona sun. It's very hot, and it's very beneficial.
Yeah, speaking of the excessive heat, a lot of students would always go into the cafeteria, which made it very crowded, or would try to be under the shade, and nobody was really as comfortable as how it is now with these solar panels.
Yeah, it's been a really nice space, like Haley was saying, to do some of our community events, our Fall Fest. We have tables there. The kids do stuff during both lunches. The clubs come out, groups come out, and they host activities underneath the canopies. So it's been a great use of space.
Well, it definitely makes the school really pop when you come on the inside of the quad. Another thing that has really changed the outlook of the school and the things that are available here at the school has been the addition of the Performing Arts Center. So when the school was first built, they didn't have a Performing Arts Center. They went 10 years without a Performing Arts Center, and performances had to take place inside the cafeteria. So just picturing that, like how big of a difference do you think it makes to have that Performing Arts Center versus having everything go through the cafeteria?
I think it makes a drastic difference. I have a lot of classmates and peers who are in dance or any other club as well. They use the Performing Arts Center for performances, meetings, and like a lot of gatherings in general. And that Performing Arts Center, I think, has brought a lot of opportunities for more events to pop up.
It's also very elegant looking. I do feel like it brings in a whole nother level of like professionalism, especially to those shows for the different clubs. I do think people see it I would say that it's more taken seriously just because it's in a very professional setting, especially with dance. I feel like the lighting, just the seating, everything. I feel like our community sees it and they're in shock, and it brings a whole nother experience to the performance they're seeing.
Now, when we get into some of the new plans for how to improve the campus, some of these things may not be as eye popping, for just anyone who's coming onto the campus and looking around and looking for the change as it was for the Performing Arts Center and some of the other renovations on the quad, but still very important. One of those, I would say is the laser leveling of the fields. How important as a student, like how important is that? For you to know that those competition areas are actually being laser leveled and we have a nice smooth surface out there.
As a student athlete myself, I did play JV softball, and one thing we would have to do is we would have clashing of our schedules with varsity. So a lot of the time when we would have a home game, we would have to play in the downfield, and in the downfield, since it's not leveled correctly, there is a lot of dips. There's a lot of potential like for somebody to get hurt. I do know somebody last season they tripped and I believe they tore their ACL. So it is I feel like it's definitely dangerous over the everything not being leveled and all of the dips.
Absolutely. I'd say, if you're a parent of a student athlete, like it could end up being the most important thing that you see on our list of things to address. Some of the other items, include being able to address our roofs. The campus is about to be 20 years old. It's just a few more years away from hitting 20. And our roofs only come with a 20-year warranty before they have to be replaced. And it can be a very disruptive when you have a roof that needs to be replaced and it's causing a lot of leaks. So, Vicky, maybe if you could just speak to like if you're dealing with a monsoon has just hit and you're down a couple classrooms because the water's come through, like how disruptive is that to the campus?
Yeah, it becomes very disruptive to the kids, to the teachers, because, then we're trying to find a new room to temporarily put students in and teachers in to continue their instruction. And it gets, confusing for the students. Then we have to let them know, hey, your English class is now in this building or in this room. And we have to move teachers. So then they don't have all of their instructional materials. And I think it's very disruptive to the students and their education. And I think it's important that we are proactive with that. So we're not being reactive and trying to figure out where to put kids and teachers if something happens.
Now, another change that's being proposed for the future of this high school is something that will be very visual. It's a new auxiliary gym. So, as we're going around meeting with Stugos, one of the things that's come up from a lot of students across our campuses is that we don't offer other sports like badminton, boys volleyball, and it's really like a scheduling issue. We're running as much as we can out of the gym that we have, but creating this new auxiliary gym then expands what we're able to offer. First, from the student perspective, what do you think about being able to add that new space and being able to add those new sports for our students?
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. As someone who's been in studio the past 4 years, I feel like a lot of people have brought up why we don't have as many sports, like you said, boys volleyball. I feel like it would bring more. It would be more inclusive, especially since we would have we would have boys volleyball and girls volleyball, and it would bring a lot more student athletes to our school.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Haley is saying. Not only new sports, but current sports that go on during the same season. For example, boys and girls basketball, they clash a lot of their scheduling. And I feel like the auxiliary gym would help that time management a lot.
Yeah, piggybacking off what Janine was saying, it'll definitely help with the same season sports who share that gym, like girls and boys basketball. Right now they have to switch off. One week the girls will practice right after school. Next week the boys will, which then means the other sport is responsible for getting the students back here to campus, which we know can put added pressure or stress on the students or the families. So having that option would reduce some of that pressure and stress for our families, because then we could just have practice right after school. And also from an instruction standpoint, we offer PE health classes. And if we have an additional space to have those classes, we'll be able to offer more, because we can't let kids go outside when it's 110 degrees out and they're not going to want to be running around out there. If we have that additional space, it'll open more opportunities for our students and the classes that they can take.
Now, some of the items that are on the list have to do with safety. So the district's made a very concentrated effort on increasing safety on campus. This year we have the AI weapons detectors that have been implemented, which are great. But if you don't have a secure perimeter, then controlling that point of entry isn't as impactful. And so one of the items is, addressing the perimeter fencing around the campus, because the school does butt up against a park and you need to have a nice sound perimeter all around the campus. How has the district's efforts towards increasing safety impacted you as a student?
I do believe as a student, now that I am older, I'm more aware of the news, what's happening in today's world. And I do believe that schools, especially our school, we should take into consideration the safety of all of our students. Just so students don't feel scared to come to school. They don't come with any fears, because they know that our school is very secure, because we do agree with the metal detectors, but we also do believe that with the fencing, like you said, there's no point in having the detectors if we still can't prevent somebody from coming in. So I do think it is very necessary, and I do think a lot of parents of our fellow students would really appreciate it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I believe it improves overall security for the students and staff here at Sierra Linda High School. Um, Personally, I would feel very safe and comfortable as I watch the news as well, and I see a lot of things going on, whether that's who enters or exits the school or students that are already on campus leaving campus. So I think everyone would appreciate the fencing.
Yeah, and as the principal, my number one job is to make sure our kids and our staff are safe. So having a secure perimeter only helps that, right? Because we know that kids can't learn if they don't feel safe, and teachers aren't going to want to teach and staff aren't going to want to work here. So it's really important for us to make sure that people feel safe.
Absolutely, definitely a big topic. And I'll tell you, not only from watching the news, but I get to watch all the videos of everything we deal with district wide. And I feel like some students are auditioning for Spider-Man when I see how quickly they can get over our fencing. So this new perimeter fencing, I think, will definitely keep us a lot safer on campus. So looking forward to that change. But one of the other things that a district likes to do when we go out for bond is we do leave some flexibility in there, because we know that different needs are going to arise as we go through, the next 5 years or so, and we're using this bond to address those needs. And a lot of that comes out from conversations either with Stugo, when I'm walking with Stugo and I'm asking, what are you seeing around campus? What do we need to address? Or our facilities director takes walks with our principal, and, Vicky, you'll walk around with Gabe and you guys will see things that need to be addressed. So two-part question. First, how do you feel about having that flexibility to know that the district is nimble like that and able to address things as they're coming up? And then the second part would be, is there something right now that you're thinking you would like to see added to the campus?
Yeah, I think the district is very big on inclusivity, whether that's just students or staff.
I agree with I feel like our district is very involved. Like you said, I feel like you always come to talk to our students. All our feedback, we have seen a lot of changes, especially from my freshman year and coming and talking to you, and now to my senior year. I do feel like a lot of our voices were heard, which is really appreciated, because I feel like as a student, sometimes we feel like our voices aren't heard as much as we'd want them to. And one thing I would like to kind of address is, we live in Arizona. The heat is very excessive. One thing that one students I have heard a lot talk about is having the misters or air fans under our solar panels. And I do agree that it is necessary, just because now that we have more shaded areas, a lot of students like to lay down, they like to eat their lunch, they like to sit down with their friends. But sometimes it can't be as enjoyable as it would with fresh air coming in, or maybe like a little bit of water hitting you, just so you don't feel the excessive heat as much. And I have heard a lot of students saying that they would really appreciate it, which is something that we would hope to see coming in the following years.
I wanted to add on what Haley had said about the students being under there. There's a lot of clubs, whether that's festivals or general gatherings, that go on under the solar panels. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, I think it helps people want to be a part of the events. And
Going on with that, I feel like with Stugo, we do a lot of our lunchtime activities under the solar panels. And we do have a lot of, how do I say? We do have a lot of participation. But one thing that I have heard that keeps students from kind of going outside again is the heat. Because fall isn't really fall in Arizona. Fall doesn't start till November. We don't feel any breeze or anything until December, November. So I do feel like maybe misters would kind of bring more people to our activities, because our activities are to make students feel included. They feel more welcome at our school, especially with our incoming freshmen. So I do think if we had the misters or the fans, it would bring more people to want to interact with others, make new friends. Just what Stugo is more about.
And from the principal perspective, I definitely have heard lots of talk about the fans and the misters. So I think that those would definitely be a great addition. But also our alarm system, like you mentioned before, it's 20 years old, and there will be a random fire alarm, and it could be in the middle of class. So then that creates a distraction or a disruption. So that's something that I would like to see looked at and fixed in the coming years, is so it's more accurate. And then also I would like to see upgrades to our classrooms, our furniture and things like that. I think our students deserve the best flexible furniture. And right now I'm super grateful that we have desks and seats for all of our kids, but I would just like to see the upgraded, desks and tables, and same thing for our teachers, the standing workstations and things like that. So those are some of the items on the wish list from a
I
principal perspective.
I do agree with the fire alarm, just because we've had that happen a lot of incidents where we'll be in class and a fire alarm goes off. And I do think it does get very chaotic, and it's kind of hard for the teacher to make it peaceful again like it was before. So I do feel like it kind of disrupts the work environment. I feel like class isn't able to proceed as we should. And a lot of the chaos, it's just kind of, it's hard to bring down, especially since it's only one teacher and there's so many students where the fire alarm will randomly go off in class.
I wanted to add on what Miss Haught had said about the furniture and the desk. I wanted to compare it more to the library as well. After the library was renovated, there was a much bigger group of students who wanted to be in the library and who saw it as an opportunity to explore the school in general and knowing like that new things are possible and how district does pay attention to the new things.
Well, I definitely appreciate you guys sharing all those ideas, as you always do. Whether it's a Stugo visit or it's a walk with our facilities director, definitely a collaborative effort on trying to figure out how we can improve the educational experience here at Sierra Linda for all the Bulldogs. So appreciate you guys always sharing your ideas and insights, and appreciate you for being on today's podcast. Just like we also appreciate our listeners for tuning in once again to the Education Exchange, where we aim to enlighten our parents and empower our students. And we're looking forward to seeing you again next time.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Education Exchange. Have a question or want to be a guest on our podcast? Email podcast@tuhsd.org for more information. Missed an episode? Catch all seasons of the Education Exchange on your favorite streaming platforms or at www.tuhsd.org/podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another episode of the Education Exchange.